Fantastic, fantastic. How's everybody doing? Good. Very first thing we're going to do, as always, we're going to give thanks to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Are there reporters in this room somewhere? I can't see through the light. It's the mainstream media here. If you're here, I want you to hear this. Hear me. I don't care what you say about me. I don't care what you do in your newsroom. I don't care about your plans and your schemes to bring this nation down with your Democratic friends. Why? Because Jesus Christ is still on the throne. You may have your news cameras and your satellites and your 24-hour news, but Jesus Christ holds the world in his hands. And he holds me in it as well. And what he has for me, you cannot keep from coming true. It may not be the governor's mansion. It may not be any political seat, but you will not stop Jesus Christ's will in my life. So I do not fear you. Write your stories, tell your lies, tell your half-truths. But Christ is still on the throne. And because he lives in my heart and I live for him, I know whatever I need to do on this earth for him, it will get done. So we give him thanks first and foremost. Guys, all these other guys that come out here and talk to you about the issues, we know the issues. The wide open border, crime on the street, fentanyl killing our children, pornography in our schools. We know about the issues, the failing economy, the precarious place the United States finds itself in on the world stage with its enemies. The horrible, absolutely dreadful administration that is currently leading our nation right now. It is mind-numbing to think that the most energetic, the greatest nation on earth, people seek to come to for that vaunted thing that we have, the freedom and energy and intelligence that we have in this country. And all 350 million people are being led by somebody who just barely knows that they're here on earth. We know what the issues are. But I didn't really come here to go into details about the issues. What I really came here to do, I came here to get something started. See, because we got a problem in this country. We got a bunch of clapper-trap people that sit behind news media desks and want to talk about fake trials for President Trump. Turn the television on, they're talking about first one actor and then another actor, talking about all manners of foolishness. Talking about MAGA Republicans being the most dangerous people on earth. I don't know. I didn't see any MAGA Republicans on 9/11 blowing up buildings and airplanes. I don't think any MAGA Republicans were over in Israel murdering people. And I don't think a MAGA Republican gave them the money to be able to do it. You see, we got folks in this country that don't want to talk about the substantive issues that all of us face. The things that we just talked about, that wide open border, the precarious place we find ourselves with safety and security in the world, on the world stage. They don't want to talk about your pocketbook. They don't want to talk about the fact that your children are in schools where we spend millions upon millions upon millions of dollars for those schools, and the children can't read on the grade level. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the fact that every single solitary policy that they propose and then pass yields horrible results. They don't want to talk about it. Why? Because it proves an essential truth. It proves an essential truth. What is that truth? The simple truth of the matter is this. They call us the right. We sit on the right. And we not only get called the right and call ourselves the right and sit on the right, we are right. We are right about every single solitary issue. When we say, shut that border down and deport those who are dangerous to our country, we are right. When we say children should not be sexualized, we are right, and this nation knows it. When we say that it's your money, you earned it, you worked for it, the government should not be picking your pocket, we are right. See, we are right. Too many of us are ashamed to be right, though. Some of us, we go to work and folks start talking about politics and start standing up saying, I think Joe Biden's doing a wonderful job. And he's a nice man, because that President Trump is just mean. I just don't like the things that he says. He's just mean and arrogant, and he's a bully. If I hear that one more time, I am going to go crazy. This man is fighting. Let's list the people he's fighting. He's fighting almost the entire news media. He's fighting all the Democrats. He's fighting all the communists. He's fighting all the socialists. He's fighting all of our enemies across the ocean. And sadly, he's fighting half the Republicans. How is this man a bully? How is he a bully? You see, we hear that at work sometimes, some of us, and we're a little shy about stepping up, standing up, saying anything. People look at us and say, why are you a Republican? We say, well, you know, my mom voted Republican. I like Ronald Reagan. I think he did a great job, and I like Reagan. And so that's why I'm a Republican. We shy away from the truth. We don't want to look at that person and say, you know, well, wasn't it the Republican Party that was formed to stand up for the republic? Not the democracy like you see played on the news every day. You see, them folks want a democracy. They want the mob to rule. They don't want this republic. And they don't want Republicans standing up for the republic. You're going to tell them that, yeah, wasn't it? Well, they say, well, the Republican Party is the party of old white men. It ain't coming off. And while we're on that subject, wasn't it the Republican Party that fought a war to free the slaves? How many Jim Crow laws were passed by Republicans? Wasn't it the Republicans who ended Jim Crow? Then you can take it even further and say, so you're a Democrat. Why are you a Democrat? You know, the Democrats were the ones that were in favor of slavery. They were the ones in favor of the Confederacy. They were the ones that created Jim Crow. They are the ones that made the laws, and they are the ones that fought like hell to keep them until they found out a different way to enslave people. Instead of giving them welfare, instead of giving them slave shacks and shackles, they decided they were going to give them welfare checks and the ghetto. You see, there are truths that nobody wants to talk about. Not the news media, not the college professors. I'm getting excited up here, guys. Not the college professors. Nobody wants the front row. Y'all better watch out, bro. Woo! Spitting fire up here today. Y'all better watch out. Nobody wants to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it, and you should too. You should run and go tell the good news of why you're a Republican. You can take it all the way back to 1860 and bring it all the way up right now to 2020. You look at the states that are run by Republicans. Look at what Sarah Huckabee Sanders is doing in Arkansas. Look at what Glenn Youngkin is doing in Virginia. Look at what Ron DeSantis is doing in Florida and Greg Abbott is doing in Texas. Look at what the Republican legislature in North Carolina is doing and has done since 2010. And while we're on that subject, think about what North Carolina will do when Mark Robinson is the Republican governor. You see, there's a truth that's got to be told. Unfortunately, no one will tell it if you don't. No one will be bold enough to tell it if you're not. I speak about this all the time, and when I do, I try to do it without shedding tears, but it's hard for me to do it. Tell my wife I have two great dreams. One great dream exists on this side of the earth. The other dream exists on the other side. Dream on the other side is very dear to me. And people think that I hate people. I don't hate people. I hate actions. I hate actions that take advantage of people, destroy people's lives, and destroy and wreck nations. I hate the actions. I don't hate the people. One of my greatest dreams as a Christian is this. And I take it to heart, and when I say it, I mean it. You know, they tell me that when I die, if I do what God says on earth, that he has reserved a mansion for me with many rooms. I think about that room that he may reserve for me. And I think about myself in it. And if that place is like anything like down here on earth, maybe people would come and visit me. You know who I want to come and visit me? Of course, I'd love to see the heroes of the faith come. My mother, my family, those that I love. But you know who else I want to see? I want to look out my window down in my driveway and see Nancy Pelosi come walking up. I'm serious. I want to see Joe Biden come walking up. I do. I do. I want to look down there and see my opponent, Josh Stein, come walking up. I want to look down there and see everybody who opposed me on earth, who called me an enemy on earth. I want to see them come walking up that driveway. You know why? Because it means they made it. Because they made it. Now, I don't want my opponent to make it to the governor's mansion. But I sure wouldn't mind if he made it to heaven. Because I don't hate anybody. Now I want to see every single solitary person on this earth. I want to see their soul saved. Every single solitary person. And each and every one of us that calls ourselves a Christian should pray vehemently for their souls, that we would see them in heaven and forget about all this when we get up there. My second dream is this, and it's down here on earth. One day, years from now you look at them old photographs and you can tell what year they were taken. I want an old photograph of me sitting up on somebody's shelf in a home somewhere. I don't know where it may be. Could be here, some other place. And I want somebody to pull that photograph down and look at it and say, who is this man? And I want one of my grandchildren, or great-grandchildren, or great-grandchildren, right here in the United States of America, to take that picture and hold it up over their head and say, this is my grandfather. And I live in freedom today because he was man enough to stand up and give me the same kind of freedom that he grew up in. To me, that would be the single greatest honor on this earth. Now, I sincerely hope that each and every one of you would want to have that honor as well. Now, before I leave you, I want to leave you with this. Who are we as Republicans? Who are we as conservatives? Who are we as patriots? Who are we as MAGA Republicans? I boil it all down to this. Earlier this month, we celebrate what I call America's St. Crispin's Day. D-Day, June the 6th, 1944. The spirit of MAGA, the spirit of us, the spirit of the American patriot is embodied in those boys in those boats. It lives inside of the hearts of each and every person in this room. It lives inside of the people who go back home and get politically active and are bound and determined to change the circumstances of their cities and their state and their nation. It exists in those moms who had the unmitigated gall, according to some, to go down to the school board and demand that their children not be sexualized. It lives in the heart of every patriot who decides to put their name on the dotted line and serve in office. It exists inside of Americans who love this nation. The heart of the boys in those boats on that day is literally the epitome of America. When times get tough for us, when you get scared, when you get nervous, when you think you can't win, think about them boys in them boats. Think about them bullets hitting that door. Think about the fact when that door opened, they didn't run to the back, they ran out that door. Bullets be damned, death be damned. I'm here to save my country. You think about them, you remember them, and you remember their sacrifice was not in vain because it lives in you, and it lives in me, and it lives in all of us. Let's let that energize us to save this nation one more time. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Why on earth would you want more guns in schools after what's happened today?
Here's why, Piers. If we could suddenly make all guns disappear, I'd have a different position. But I spend a lot of time thinking about this and reading about it. I teach a class at the law school level called Gun Control Seminar, and I get a new group of law students every term, and we discuss this in detail. And the simple facts are guns exist. They are essentially 1800s technology. Even semi-automatics came into being in the late 1800s. They're easy to make. They're not going anywhere. They last several human lifetimes with minimal maintenance. So since guns exist, and we know for a fact that the only way to stop an evil person, like the person you were discussing earlier in the show, is to shoot him, or he's going to shoot himself.
Hang on. This is exactly the argument that I've been hearing ever since I've joined CNN. I joined on air about a week after Gabby Giffords, a congresswoman, was shot in the head. Right, ever since then, we've had the Sikh temple, the Aurora incident. We had the shopping mall last week. Guy downstairs shot in the head from our New York bureau, and so on and so on and so on. And the argument I keep hearing is, well, if everybody else was armed, it wouldn't happen. It's a load of total hogwash, isn't it? No. If everyone had been armed at that movie theatre, twice as many people would have been killed in the mayhem that erupted.
Give an example where people have stopped these attacks and a bystander's been hit. You can't give me one example where a bystander's been hit by a permit holder.
The Empire State Building.
Where a permit holder.
Can I just...
The proof of the pudding
you don't
is that in
see
every other
mass
industrialized country in the world,
gun shows
other than the United States,
ranges.
They have reasonable gun control laws, and they have 100 people a year, not 9,000 or 10,000 a year killed by guns.
Guys, listen,
Japan,
but it was lower before gun control there.
Japan adopted strong gun control laws.
And has almost zero crime.
And their homicide rate plummeted.
But the point is the gun control didn't change it.
In Scotland, in Dunblane, in 1996, there's a very similar school shooting.
Right.
Just an awful situation. 16 young children killed exactly as they were today.
You know what, the two of the
and as a result of this, they brought in a handgun ban. 162,000 handguns were handed in. Right? It is time for an amnesty.
Murder rates went
up.
There's an amnesty in Australia as well.
Murder rates went up.
There are about 35 murders a year in Britain.
But it was lower for another reason.
There are nearly 12,000 murders a year from guns in this country.
The point is,
when are you guys going to focus on that? And stop telling me the answer is more guns. It is not the answer.
Look,
listen.
Let's focus on it. It was after the ban. It was higher than it was before the ban.
So you want more guns, not less?
I'm saying
300 million guns in America isn't enough for you.
When you ban guns,
how many more kids have to die before you guys say we want less guns, not more?
I'm upset about this. He asked me a question.
I want to tell you
something.
Let
him answer the question.
I'm upset because I worry that the gun control laws that you're pushing have killed people.
Oh,
that
what
when
a
you
lot of nonsense.
look, you have to explain.
Nonsense.
You
An
have
average of 35 killings from guns in Britain a year.
No,
in a place that banned handguns.
But
Here,
it was lower
no ban on
before
these
they
guns.
had the gun control
12,000
laws.
people a year die from gun murders.
Look, there are lots of differences
If there are
across
35
countries.
total in
You
Britain,
have to
Can I
understand.
please have the opportunity to say
that
something
if
without
you
screaming?
ban-
I mean,
Yeah, there is. I'm sorry, but
No, I want the-
I woke
I
up
just
today.
need to-
I've been debating this all
Yeah.
week. Following the Bob Costas thing,
Yeah.
the shopping mall and so on, following Aurora. I've been debating it for months, if not 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm so frustrated. I'm so furious that these
Yes,
kids
yes.
have been blown away again with legally acquired weapons. Some boy who's got problems takes his mother's 3 weapons, including this ridiculous assault rifle, and goes into school and kills his kids. And you guys on the gun lobby still want to tell me the answer is more guns.
Look, I've been
It is
academic.